Good morning. Another little video, and just want to show you this little background. I'm not sure if I can do it. How do I turn that round? I come over to show you that. It's such a cute little bridge. Okay, so let's get you back. Hopefully it'll track me. So a little moment to share on always on this topic, right? The cause of suffering, I think this little snippet's about. What causes our suffering? And what brings it to an end? Well, firstly, I want to say that once we get the idea of what causes our suffering and what brings it to an end, it's very easy to bring it to an end. And to begin with, my experience has been that I will forget that, I will forget the cause of suffering and I will forget what brings it to an end. And suffering will seem to reappear. And then I'll go, what? What? But that's bound to happen because our minds have been trained into a way of experiencing and thinking about experience, and with a set of beliefs that will re-establish suffering very quickly in most cases. You do hear of people that get it clear and then they never suffer again, but they do seem to be the things of mythology, or rare, if you like, rare people. So what is the cause of suffering? And we can say this in many ways, and that's the beauty of this reality, if you like. Because there's so many ways we can say the same thing, because the thing itself isn't a thing. And so the words act as pointers to experiences that we might share in common, and hopefully convey something that we can relate to. So, the cause of suffering, one way of saying it, is simply a misalignment with the facts of experience. We have come to believe that we're embodied, material, biological beings in a material world that exists whether we exist or not. And we have a consciousness that can know stuff. And that consciousness is derived from our brains and body. And should we die, that consciousness dies, right? And then people talk about souls and spirits and this kind of thing, right? So we've got all these ideas about who we are, and some variation from person to person, from culture to culture, and so on. But essentially, there's a materialist view of who we are. And this materialist view, or being very useful, I mean, science has proven itself, hasn't it? So useful to humans in solving our problems, some of our problems. But it doesn't help us live a suffering-free life. By believing, by taking ourselves to be this separate being, material, bio, robot, whatever we are, whatever we describe ourselves as, human beings or whatever, all those assumptions that we've made, they're the cause of our suffering. And they're the cause of our suffering not because they're the wrong way of thinking about ourselves. They are a valid way of thinking about ourselves, but they're not the truth. And the reason they're not the truth is indescribable. We can never know exactly what a human being is. We can never know what anything is. And once we see that as a direct encounter, once we get it, once we look directly into our experience and we get it, then the idea that we're a biological being with consciousness and so on loses its power over us. And in that moment of it losing its power, the suffering begins to diminish, if not stop completely. So the cause of suffering is a misalignment, it's a misunderstanding. It's believing in a view which isn't true. It's just a model, a useful model, but nevertheless a model of what a human being is. And once we see that, suffering diminishes and starts to come to an end. If we take up that model and belief again, our suffering will arise again. And that's how it works. It's as simple as that. How do we go about that? Finding that way of not believing in the story. Well, I'm going to save that for another video. I hope this has been useful, and I'll try and release part 2 with this one, so you're not left on a knife edge.